a little higher value than we normally don't see. But it looks like we are getting started. And hammer in Link's house, so we already have a weapon that we can dispatch enemies with pretty quickly.
And we're seeing with Uncle Assured, both racers are going to making their way up to Hyrule Castle, picking up should be a sword off of Uncle, correct?
Yeah, we're going to get our level 1 sword here, and the tree pull today is 20 rupees, so we got 80 rupees rather quickly. All right, just a piece of heart there in the chest near Uncle. Gonna be interesting to see. It looks like BigDunka may be making the play to go ahead and clear out the front side of Escape.
Yeah, I feel that's a smart play. I mean, you got the hammer. That's going to make that a lot faster. Hammer does tempered sword damage, so the blue guards are going to be much easier to dispatch.
All right, Andy using that tree pull yet again, up to 181 rupees. So that's a very nice cushion to have early on with the potential of buying bombs and checking that bottle vendor.
And if they end up finding an early Moon Pearl, fake flippering up to Zora area might come in really handy with a lot of rupees.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Knocking out all those checks, even though being sort of out of sequence, is definitely a high value play, especially in Key Sanity.
So even in Key Sanity, knocking out the front of Escape here is always doable, just because both your key drops are going to be coming off of these blue guards.
And looks like we already have the big key to Turtle Rock, so that's one of our big keys knocked off on our checklist.
We don't necessarily know if we're going to need that or not, but it's always good to find gaining out a big key in this mode.
And even though this is Key Sanity, that is going to be vanilla. We're going to get that key from that boss, and looks like just a piece of heart, as BigDunka is going to take that death warp to get back to the front of the Escape. All right, Dunka gonna make the play into the dark rooms of Escape. Now, since this is not standard mode and we do not have a lamp, we're not getting that light cone, so he's gonna do this completely blind. Luckily, we do have that sword to have that beam, so we can kind of see where we're going. Andy, meanwhile, making the play down to South Shore.
We've been seeing more and more racers take this South Shore first approach lately. I think I've seen a lot of racers do that both in the summer tournament and the fall tournament here. Nothing in the front of the dam, but let's see what we get when we drain it.
All right, looks like Dunka picked up the small key to this dungeon, so we're going to be going further, deeper into Escape, potentially. No, he's going to save and quit out, so we'll check the back of Escape at another point as Andy finds the glove.
That is a very nice item to find. You do usually have to find that relatively early. BigDunka probably wasn't going to get much further into items in the back of Escape. He did not have any bombs.
Yeah, not having the bombs there, definitely something that could, slow you down. But with Andy picking up that glove, logically we're already 2/3 of our way to Dark World. Just need that Moon Pearl, and we'll have that Dark World access. So in Key Sanity, we've also got these compasses and maps. Andy picking up just a bottle there and a few compasses and maps. But they're shuffled into the overworld as well, potentially, and we don't actually get to see if the dungeons are crystals or pendants until we pick up those maps.
But wait, you may be asking, I can tell by the music when you go into a dungeon. No, you can't. Those are randomized as well.
Yeah, long gone are the days where you could do it by the music, so if you don't have the map for it, it's just going to be a go in and clear the boss potentially and see what drops from the sky.
Oh, and BigDunka gets the Moon Pearl there in the Thieves' Hideout. He found a blue rupee on the top of a Lumpjack ledge and a heart container in where the mushroom is. So BigDunka is going to be making his way down to Kakariko Village.
All right, while Dunka heads down into getting a nice 8 bomb drop there from that guard, Andy's now going to be, looks like he's going to check back of escape. If he continues with this Northern Light World play over to Kakariko, he'll be picking up his Moon Pearl as well.
That'll be Dark World access for Andy.
Yeah, super early Dark World access. You know, we don't have, with Key Sanity, we don't have the opportunity to do as many dungeons early on, but you know, we can do a few checks there as we see Andy get Ether.
It'll still be worth it to dive certain dungeons. Thieves Town, for instance, you still get those first 4 chests right there at the beginning, but you don't want to hop into Pod or T-Rock without having a good amount of their keys.
Yeah, most definitely. Picking up another big key here. We got the big key to Ice Palace. Andy farming the rupee drops yet again, so up to 412. We're probably going to make that Zora play. Dunka picking up the Ice Rod here in Kakariko. The Ice Rod being one of those pesky items that can technically be anywhere. So getting that out of the way early and finding that is a little comforting. As we see Dunka picking up a small key to Palace of Darkness.
We'll be finding a lot more of those this race.
All right, no bottle in hand yet for Dunka, so we cannot do that Sick Kid check. Just a big 20 in the back of the bar. So Andy will be retracing Dunka's steps, but we'll be able to see what Sick Kid has as well.
Looks like we saw a small key there in the library. We do not know what that small key will be for.
Yeah, that's kind of going to be a coin flip of whether or not we're going to need it. So probably going to have to find the boots and at least check it, potentially. Depends on how the keys fall for everything else. As we see Blue Mail there on the race game ledge. So BigDunka going to opt to go and get that.
That's a tricky one in the race ledge because if you want to be confident, you can go without it. Like, I might find the other mail upgrade at some point, but also green mail in Dark World hurts. It sucks.
Yeah, most enemies in Dark World, if you're on green mail, hit for a ton. I think 2 hearts is the minimum, and I think some of them do up to 4, maybe 5. All right, as Andy is finishing routing Kakariko, BigDunka has now saved and quit, and headed down to route in the South Shore play. So he'll be getting his Power Glove here from the drainage part of the dam. All right, looks like just 10 arrows there on the sick kid. So that's not going to hurt BigDunka that he did not have that bottle yet. So I guess you could say it's a little bit of a relief for him.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, it's not like he's never going to be in Kakariko again, and that's a pretty fast check, especially once you get the flute. But Dunka does grab his glove, somehow going to encompass all 8 of his tentacles there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how he's going to use that glove with that sprite to pick up the rocks today.
That last mold orm being very nice to BigDunka and just getting stuck there at the top. BigDunka gets his compasses and maps here in Mini Mold Orm Cave. And he's going to take us to Hype Cave.
I mean, I know
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know Hype Cave kind of gets a lot of flack now, but especially here in Key Sanity, we've got 5 item checks. That's going to potentially give us a little more progression as far as, you know, keys or maybe some items as well.
Andy farming another tree pole, one of the Optimist Dark World tree poles there.
The big key of Skull Woods, not actually required. Now, we did just get the flippers as well. Just another Heart of Saint card, actually, so that's a nice find. BigDunka, following his steps, going to be getting Skull Woods big key as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, that key only opens up one other location. It doesn't even open up the finishing the dungeon.
All right, so Skullwoods and Misery Mire are our 5-6 crystals today. Thanks from the bottle vendor for letting us know that.
Getting some good info there. Good reconnaissance from Andy.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of runners in normal modes, you know, try and avoid Pyramid Fairy. It's kind of a long check. Just a piece of heart there with Stumpy. But yeah, Pyramid Fairy can be a long check, but sometimes it's, you know, it's got a little more weight to it, I guess, in a way, here in Key Sanity. All right, we see Dunka picked up that Bombos medallion there. So that's going to be 2 of our medallions kind of in our hands as far as knowing where they are.
Andy not really getting much from the digging game either. Only 20 rupees there. Dunka going to take us up to the catfish. Going noodling today.
All right, there's Quake there on the Lake Helia Island, so we know now where all 3 medallions are.
That's really, really good info to have. A medallion is one of the last things you want to have to search for go mode.
Yeah, those can be quite the nuisance. You know, you can get to a point where you're just diving pendant dungeons constantly looking for them and full clearing basically literally everything.
So yeah, it looks like Andy is going to be showing us the Zora area. We're going to have 4 checks that we can do up there. 2 behind the waterfall fairy, and 1 from Zora himself, and 1 on the Zora ledge.
Yeah, and this is usually something you'll see runner sequence break, but now it is in logic with those flippers in hand, as we see Dunka now picking up his Ether Medallion as well.
Oh, and there's the GT Big Key early.
That's another thing in Key Sanity where it's just super nice to find. In V30, there are hints. There's a hint that is guaranteed in Key Sanity to let you know where the GT Big Key is, but it's a little better to just go ahead and find it and not have to worry about looking for a hint, because that hint could literally be anywhere.
Dunka shows us the bomb strat for Houlihan Room. Getting in there, making up some money, and probably going to be making the same play Andy's making at the moment.
All right, just a heart container there on Zora. However, there was a small key on Zora's ledge, so Andy is going to go ahead and pick that up. We'll have to see what dungeon it is for. All right, and a Turtle Rock small key, so we've now got at least one of those. We'll have to see how and when, or how many we get and when they fall into play. We'll need at least 4 of them. Andy making the play back over to Kakariko, most likely going to be headed to Dark World to visit the Village of Outcasts and potentially the opening part of Thieves Town. All right, Dunka getting his bottle as well, and that Ganon's Tower big key. Dunka gonna also throw in that bottle to see what the fairy, the free gift from the fairy is today, and it looks like to be blue goo. So that's very nice. If you need it, you don't have to worry about spending 160 rupees to get it.
That is probably the best thing to get out of there. You don't want to have to use a fairy if you don't have to, and even if you do, that doesn't restore as much as the blue potions do.
Yeah, we are in normal mode, so being able to get full health, you know, especially if we're up in the double-digit amount of hearts, and, you know, if we do find half magic, that is on the table as well in this seed. Andy visiting Skull Woods. So far, those first 2 checks, nothing of merit really there.
So normally you only have 2 items that's in here. However, with keys, maps, and compasses shuffled up, you do have quite a few more. There's push number 3 for Andy.
And then Skullwood's big key proving just a big 20, so not really worth finding, but, you know, we got the check out of the way.
So Dunka is going to go check out the Eastern Palace area. Maybe get an idea of where the green pendant is. I got a couple chests that we can check here.
You know, I'm not sure if he's thinking this, but we do have, with those potions in hand, we can do that bottle glitch to get to the right side of Pod, potentially. So we'll have to see what his idea is here. Looks like the green pendant there is in Thieves Town.
And speaking of Thieves Town, Andy just found the big key for Thieves Town in Skull Woods.
Well, that's going to open up the back. We don't have that small key yet, but maybe we don't need it. So there are, 4 early items, as Virtua Cat mentioned earlier, and then there's a few in the back. So we'll have to wait and see if Andy's going to go ahead and full clear that. He does not know that is the green pendant at this point.
Dunka may actually be... Oh, nope, never mind. He's going to go into Eastern first.
Probably remembered, hey, I don't have the mirror. I should probably check Eastern first if I'm intending to do that at all. Always better to realize on the way to the portal than after you go through the portal. And there's our Titan's Mitts in the bombable hut of Village of Outcasts. So Andy picking that up. Now we've got a good bit of the world open to us.
Yeah, not many other traversal items that we really need. Hookshot, mirror, and flute being the 3 that we need.
Yeah, we don't have that access yet to East Death Mountain. We could sequence break up there, but it's just for a couple of checks. We'll need either that mirror or that hookshot before we make the journey up there.
I mean, we technically don't even have Death Mountain in general in play.
Speaking of the
hookshot,
we talk about it, and then all of a sudden, there it is. It just shows up. And so far for Dunka, looks like not a whole lot of anything except some compasses and some cash inside of Eastern. Now that hint there showing a unique item is in Palace of Darkness. That could potentially be pretty good. I think we've already seen our 100 rupee stack, which is labeled as a unique item, and we've already seen our single arrow, which is also labeled as a unique item. So there could be some actual value there.
Yeah, if Duncan makes that play to go up there and check it, which I expect him to after this, we could be seeing a really early whatever there is supposed to be there.
Dunka down to just 2 hearts here in this dark room. Gonna look like he's gonna make it through though with no problem. Gonna have a little bit harder of a time doing the iframes, I guess, to get through the anti-fairy. So he'll probably have to do this vanilla strats.
Yeah, if that's a mistake, you really only make once. Try to invisibility frame with 1 or 2 hearts.
All right, the Thieves Town hint. The silver arrows are in Mimic Cave. That's very useful information because you don't want to have to check Mimic Cave. I think that's probably worth picking up when you're going through Turtle Rock. If it is a crystal, I think it saves enough time. Especially if you have to go through there already.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and BigDunka taking the intentional death, but having a fairy in a bottle.
Yeah, and unfortunately getting hit by these anti-fairies, we're going to drain all of that magic as well. And there's that intentional death. This time we won't get revived. Alright, looks like Dunka is going to make that play to the pod region. And Andy's sitting at 3 hearts, heading into the basement of Thieves Town. All right, Blind Cell just has a heart container for us today. Looks like Ice Palace is a crystal from the BigDunka map check, and Pod is our blue pendant today.
That makes it much, much more likely we are going to be seeing those silver arrows picked up. Only one other pendant needed, and we have, I think, 6 other dungeons on the table for it.
Yeah, most definitely. Andy got a little bit of a health refill here before heading into blind. Sword in hand, this is kind of going to be a, pretty scripted fight here. Already in the 3rd phase. And very nicely done there by Andy. Going to be rewarded with that green pendant as well as the lamp.
There's that fire source that we'll probably be needing later on in the game. Dunka barely having enough rupees to get into Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, barely enough is still better than having barely not enough, for sure. So good on Dunka there to probably manage that, or maybe just getting a little bit of luck. All right, Dunka going right side. We're going to probably get that hint check, and we're going to go ahead and probably see that potion glitch we mentioned earlier. And the Eastern Palace big key is in plain sight, so there's only a few places that could be at this point. We haven't seen Desert Ledge, we haven't seen Spectacle Rock.
There's Hookshot Light World Cave. That's really about it.
All right, nicely done there by Dunka to execute that glitch. So we're going to move on through without the bow. These chests potentially out of logic, but we could find something of value here. Just a map and a single rupee, though. Andy now making that play with the old man up to Death Mountain. We have that hook shot, so we can get to East Death Mountain, and we got that lamp, so this is all in logic now.
Yeah, we'll be able to check Dark World Death Mountain as well.
Yeah, having the Titan's Mitts plus that hook shot, super nice. The only thing that could make this even any better would be to have that mirror, so maybe we find that here. Who knows?
Yeah, there should only be 2 things that we cannot check here. Which would be, or 3 things: Spectacle Rock, which we can see what it is, and it is just bombs. But we got the Ether Tablet up there and the Mirror Ledge.
On Dunka picking up the Cane of Samaria here in Palace of Darkness. That doesn't really unlock progression, but it's going to most likely be required. All right, Andy, on the eastern side of Death Mountain, we're going to get these checks over here inside of Paradox Cave. We've got 5 checks at the upper portion, and we've got 2 here at the lower portion. We got a small key to Ganon's Tower and a heart container.
Is this really the upper portion?
You know, I'm not 100% sure about that.
Good hammering up by Dunka. And Andy picking up the big key of Misery Mire.
And there's our small key to get through that first door of Swamp Palace. So as soon as we find the mirror, Swamp Palace is clearable, assuming, you know, that's a crystal. But it may have some value even if it is a pendant.
There's a lot of chests in Swamp Palace.
All right, and a small key on the Death Mountain Island, the floating island. So that I think that just leaves Desert Ledge for that Eastern Palace big key. Am I right?
I can't think of anywhere else. Dunka picked up the pyramid item. Yeah, that should be it.
All right, we got a big key in the basement of Hera here. In this first room, rather. So it's the big key of Swamp Palace. So, you know, I'm wondering if this game wants us to go to Swamp Palace. We might be seeing that mirror soon.
Well, that's all we'll be doing here at the Tower of Hera for the time being. Andy's gonna get out of here without being able to progress any further. And we're going to be seeing Spiral Cave next.
All right, Dunka making the play into Village of Outcasts area, and it does look like that with that map check, Turtle Rock is our number 3 crystal, so we are definitely going to have to go there. So very useful information finding out, you know, those silver arrows are hidden inside of Mimic Cave.
Here's the thing, if Swamp is a pendant, we may not have the mirror by the time we go up there.
That's true. So that could pose a little bit of an inconvenience. You know, we're at the top 32 of this tournament, so pretty sure every last one of these runners that are left could do, you know, Silverless Ganon with no problem. All right, while Duncan makes his way through Skull Woods, Andy's going to be checking Super Bunny Cave here.
And just 25 rupees for his trouble.
And speaking of money, Dunka is just going to be rewarded for checking that that big chest with a big 20. All right, Bombos is our Turtle Rock medallion for today. We know from Dunka's side that is on the Pyramid Ledge, so Andy is definitely going to have to visit there at some point.
Andy finding a Master Sword here in Hookshot Cave. Comes in handy. That is necessary to beat the game.
And another pod small key. So the progression for pod potentially or logically goes even further at this point. And Dunka finding out now that nothing of value there on the bumper cave ledge. And we are aware there is an issue currently with the restream. That is being worked on. That should be fixed here momentarily. It looks like it's back up, at least here for Dunka, as we see him inside the chest game.
Alright, I'm glad to see that was not just me.
All right, so Dunka's going to be picking up the hook shot right here. And let's see, I was trying to check from that pause menu. Couldn't quite tell if he had visited the bottom house yet to pick up those Titan's mitts. All right, Dunka now getting that first Ice Palace small key. All right, it looks like we're back, which is good. Dunka now looks like he's probably going to be making the play up to Death Mountain. Most likely got that lamp there inside of Thieves Town. We'll have to wait and see. Did not. So opted to go ahead and nope out of Thieves Town. So no green pendant for Dunka and no fire source right now. Andy did pick up that Bombos medallion and has now made his way into Ice Palace. And that hit very useful on Andy's side. Piece of Heart and a Compass on the western wing of Swamp Palace. So now we know we don't have to waste our time checking left side swamp.
It's one of the best hints to get in the game.
It feels so good to get that hint when you're playing. It's just like, that's better than knowing where the Ganon Tower big key is in my mind.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's something that you need over there or something that you don't, or if it's just trash. Like, as long as you know whether you not have to go over there, it's just peace of mind.
For sure. Andy getting a another Turtle Rock small key inside of that first chest of ice.
Now my favorite room in the game, which Andy messes up just slightly.
And we did get a good hint there. A shield needs fire in Tower of Hera, so now we also know we don't have to do the basement of Hera, which is even, you know, it's nice to not have to do it regardless, but in Key Sanity, it's very nice to not have to do it.
Great bomb jump by Andy. That is, if you want to learn how to get better at this game, just make some time improvements. That bomb jump is really nice to learn.
Duncan L making his way over to Paradox Cave, getting that Ganon's Tower small key, and going to be checking these 5 items up here, as Andy is going to the right side here of Ice Palace. So now Dunka has that small key to Swamp. Still missing that mirror, though, and also the big key to Misery Mire there. 2 very nice finds. All right, as Dunka makes his way to the top of Eastern Death Mountain, Andy is going to be backtracking through ice. Probably going to be making a play towards, well, prove me wrong. I thought he was going to make a play to the iced tea room, but no. We're going to go the vanilla way. All right, so Andy's setting up one of the lesser seen Ice Palace bomb jumps over that pit. Now we'll be able to check this hint over here and potentially get to the iced tea room if we need to. Just a joke hint there today.
Andy's showing you to use sword swipes to get through larger ice rooms faster. A nice key and nice tea for Misery Mire, and with Misery Mire big key and 1 small key, Andy can finish that dungeon, and that is a 5 or 6 crystal. He may not be able to full clear it, but he can at least get Vitreous out of the way.
And we did find the big key to Ice Palace, so we will be able to check this. And there's the flute. Finding the flute is going to be very nice. Mire area now open to us. Now we know the King of Samaria is inside Palace of Darkness, so you know, it's one of those deals of, is Andy gonna go try to visit the Mire area first, or is he gonna dip pod? We'll have to wait and see what his idea is. Jumping in on this cold stare fight now, making use of the Bombos medallion to go ahead and just melt that outer shell.
Green Mel Mesh Sword Bombos is terrifying.
Yeah, these things hit for a ton. If you have to take damage in this fight, it's best to get hit by one of the falling ice bricks instead of one of the actual puffs. First puff down, so things are going to be a little easier, and now especially more so easy to, and nicely done by Andy to finish that off, getting rewarded with a small key for Ganon's Tower and a crystal.
Duncan going to go ahead and dive T-Rock.
All right, Dunka getting his 25 rupees there from the Super Bunny Cave. Meanwhile, Andy is going to activate that flute, so fast traveling is going to be a little easier for him at this point. Dunka making the hookshot cave play, getting that master sword. And I know there was a small key in here, so we'll be rewarded with that too. I believe it was for, yeah, Palace of Darkness. So Andy making the play over to the eastern area does have that green pendant from clearing Thieves Town. So we'll have to wait and see what Sahasrara has for us today.
Oh! Wow!
Fire Rod on the Elder. That is really going to cost Dunka, considering he opted to not clear Thieves Town. You hate to see that kind of thing happen.
Not like this. I mean, it's fine. It's part of the game.
All right, now Andy making the play to the Mire area. No King to Samaria for Andy yet, so we'll have to wait and see. I didn't quite catch what that medallion requirement was, but we're going to be making the play here onto Mire Shed. Just some cash and a map.
It's the map of Hyrule Castle. At least we'll know now whether that is a pendant or a crystal. Wait.
All right, so there's a big key there on that ledge. Based on the hint we saw earlier, we're going to have to probably assume that that is the big key to Eastern Palace. So we will need either the book or the mirror to get to that key. All right, so Duncan now finally making the play over to Ice Rod Cave. Can't recall if anything of value was really there, but now Andy with the Fire Rod in hand is going to make the play back into Dark World and head up to Skull Woods to clear that out.
Which that would be one of the 5-6 crystals, but he still needs to get that red cane to access the Pyramid Fairy.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're going to need that. And if you're just joining us, Dunka did make a dip into Palace of Darkness. King of Samaria is pretty deep inside of there, so it's also a pendant, so it's not as appealing to make that dip at this point. Andy still has a little bit of progression that he can make otherwise. Duncan now being relieved about the left side of Swamp Palace there, picking up that hint that Andy picked up when he was in Ice Palace. So we know there's just some trash over on the left side of Swamp, and we don't have to worry about clearing that out. speaking of Swamp Palace, Andy picks up the map. So now if he decides to make a map check, we'll be able to see if that's our last pendant or if it is a crystal.
Oh, Duncan missing his bomb throw there. Thankfully, he's got 7 left after this. Andy is going to be showing us Mothula's fight here in just a moment.
Now, Andy only has 6 hearts here heading into Mothula, and 1 Fire Rod shot and the Master Sword. So we're going to need 8 hits with the Master Sword, and that's going to be 8 if we don't hit any spikes along the way. In this fight, the game's programmed so well, when you hit Mothula, if we hit a spike as well, it basically negates the damage down to 0. So sometimes you actually have to hit him more than you actually need to, supposedly.
It's a very well-programmed game.
No bugs in this game whatsoever. And a very nice moth fight there from Andy, being rewarded with a crystal and the Fisher-Price shield.
Hey, if he wants to upgrade that, he can go do the Tower Room in Tower of Hera.
Yeah, that play just seems super valuable, I think. You know, we're worried potentially about the, the fireballs hitting us.
That one shooter in Landmo 2. I mean, it does cause issues every now and then.
You know, I'd say that's probably the most annoying shooter in the entire game.
It's the only one that actually does cause issues, usually.
Yeah. All right, so big swings right now. Dunka does have that Cane of Samaria, and that's nice and all, but he can't get to the Mire area yet without that flute, but I think he'll be picking that up here shortly. Andy missing that Cane of Samaria, as we said a little while ago, that is buried deep within Palace of Darkness. And the Fire Rod eluding BigDunka right now, that is also on Sahash Rala. So he opted not to full clear Thieves Town earlier, and that's gonna cost him a good chunk of time here.
That Fire Rod could at this point be the last possible check for Dunka.
Yeah, that's why you really hate to see that happen, as we see Duncan now getting that flute. That right there, you never want to say a race is over, because anything can happen in Rando, really. But that being a potential very last check, that just can eat up so much time, and you hate to just see that happen in a race like this. All right, Duncan now getting the small key to Misery Mire and Ice Tea Room. So now we'll most likely be heading to go ahead and take on Cold Stare. All right, this is a new check for us here on Andy's side, turning in the Blacksmith. So we'll see if we get any more progression here.
That's a very interesting thing for them to get.
Yeah, the book, I mean, it's nice to have. We needed that, or the mirror to, get that big key on the ledge of Desert, which we're pretty certain via a hint that is going to be the big key of Eastern Palace. But with no bow, doesn't really, I don't know, it's not really a high value play at the moment, I don't think. Duncan making nice use there of the Bombos medallion to get rid of that outer shell. Now taking on the 3 puffs of Cold Stare, one of them already down, and Dunka does have the blue mail, opted to get that early. So a little bit of a safer fight here with Master Sword, able to tank a few hits. Oh, now down to 3 hearts. This could be potentially bad, but does have that potion. Second puff down, and now with him in the corner, finishing off Cold Stare, gonna be rewarded with a small key to Ganon's Tower and Dunka's first crystal of the seed.
Now we are going to be seeing what is in the purple chest here in just a moment. Another new check for us here, and it is a small key that goes to Ganon's Tower. Andy is going to be heading into Desert from here. We'll get a little bit of a hymnal from him there, and the little statues move around, and we are on our way into Desert Palace.
Yeah, this could potentially have a lot of checks, or it could potentially only have a few. Now, we do have that small key, so we will be able to check the 2 chests on the right side. Unless we get lucky and find some boots here, the torch item is locked from us, and that's half magic.
I think the torch item counts for plain sight as well.
Yeah, you're probably right there. So, if we see another big key there, it may actually be Eastern Palace big key. All right, 3 of the 6 checks done here inside Desert Palace. Right side really not having a whole lot for us. So we may see Andy peep in that room and see what's on the torch. Maybe check that hint, and I'm going to assume since it is a big key, Andy is going to go ahead and get that item on the ledge. All right, just a big 20 there, and a unique item is in Misery Mire, so now the value of Misery Mire has gone up, I'd say exponentially. You know, we're in a position that's really weird for Dunka. The Fire Rod is behind the green pendant, turning that in, which we know the green pendant is on Blind, and also Blind dropped the lamp. So literally both fire sources are in the same spot. And until he goes back there, he's not going to have a fire source. And there's our big key to Eastern Palace there on Andy's side.
Now, don't we... Was it... I don't think we saw a hint about the left of the left side of Misery Mire, did we?
We did, actually. Now, that's the one saving grace here for Dunka. I believe that was inside a Turtle Rock. And if I remember correctly, it was just a heart container and a heart piece. May have been a heart piece and some cash, but that might have also been the swamp hint.
We've seen hints with every kind of like sort of, oh god, I really don't want to go to this room place now. And they're all just kind of blending together at this point.
Yeah, it's almost like we need to be able to track hints as well as the items since the implementation of them here in V30. Andy now making the play here with Kiki over to Palace of Darkness. So we're going to probably see him pick up that Cane of Samaria relatively soon. I'm sure once he has that in hand, he'll be headed over to Misery Mire. Yeah, and with Dunka not going left side there, I mean, no, he doesn't have fire, but I would assume since... You know, I kind of would think muscle memory might take over, and you go over there and say, oh yeah, I don't have a fire source, so I can't do it. But I think we did see a hint that there's nothing of value on left side.
Oh, and there's Tempered over on the right side. So we still haven't seen the unique item in here. We've seen 2 300 rupees and tempered sword. Oh, and there they are. There's the boots.
We've got our fast boys. So, that, you know, Meyer had a lot of value here, it looks like. We got the boots, we got the tempered sword. We could potentially find something else as well. Ooh, and Dunka's saving and quitting. Maybe not feeling comfortable enough, you know, sitting at 1 heart to do that dark room. I'm not sure what items or what checks he could do right now, but he's going right. I was really hoping he was going to head back to Village of Outcasts to finish up Thieves Town.
This is fast, and it makes sense doing it as soon as you get the boots. With all these 300 rupees, if Dunka was smoking cigars, he could light them with a rupee, but he'd need a fire source to do that. It's a long way to go for that joke.
And it looks like we had the Bonker Hawks. We've got the Blue Cane. That's, I guess you could say there's some value. We are in normal mode, so it will provide some invincibility if we need it. But not a required item to complete the seed. Andy has 3 pod keys right now, so going to be heading to the back, so he's going to have that King of Samaria very, very soon. And now we get to finally see what this small key is here in the library. And it's the small key to Thieves Town. Maybe that's going to give Dunka a little bit of an inclination to go back there. As we see Andy picking up that King of Samaria.
Think he's going to do it.
Yeah, if he makes this play, then that gap we were really worried about just increasing constantly doesn't increase quite as much. I do think Andy does have a slight lead here based on, you know, items and progression at this point. Luckily for Dunka now, we do have those boots on his side. So the check here of Thieves Town will be a little quicker than Andy did. We're in a position now where, you know, maybe Dunka's really hoping for some progression there inside the big chest here of Thieves Town, since Andy has not gotten that key yet.
Oh, that could swing it all the way back around, actually.
Yeah, one-off checks, you know, obviously if that is the case, if we get down there and there's something great as far as progression, that's going to be one of the last places Andy is going to check, just because it's a time sink to go dip down in there.
I mean, there's really only 2 options at this point, and that would be mirror or bow. Or something that leads to them, like powder or mushroom.
Right, right. So Andy now heading into the mire area, and we do know that we have a sword upgrade here. We do have the boots here as well. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see Andy go ahead and clear this out. This is one of our 5-6 crystals. I was really hoping for Dunka's sake that he was going to make the play in the dark room. Not the case, though. Opted to nope out, but going to be getting the lamp here after finishing off blind. And if he decides to turn in that green pendant, then he'll have that fire rod as well, and we'll be back on an even playing ground. All right, there's a lot riding on this chest that Dunka's about to check. Unfortunately for Dunka, just 3 bombs, so nothing really of value there, but at least we know Dunka's now on the right track.
And there's Andy's favorite items, the boots.
All right, Duncan now making his way into the blind fight, already done with phase 1. Doesn't matter what level sword you have, it's still going to be 3 hits per phase. Phase 2 already down. Duncan going to go ahead and tank some hits here, finish off phase 3. Very nicely done. Going to be rewarded with that lamp and that green pendant.
Andy never got the hint.
No, he
for
did
Left
not.
Fire, so it's going to be about a minute and a half there that he is going to be wasting here.
That's definitely good news for Dunka, as far as, you know, needing to probably make up a little bit of time here. All right, and confirming what I thought I saw there from that, or remembering from that Turtle Rock hint, just Heart Piece and Heart Container, left side Meyer. So Andy wasted a little bit of time there, but not a whole lot. BigDunka, I guess you could say, saved a little bit of time by not having the fire source and already seeing that hint. So Duncan now going to check the south part of Dark World that he opted to skip over earlier. Going to be turning in the blacksmith here shortly, and I believe if that was the book. So we'll have that as well and be able to dip inside of Desert. And Andy now getting his Tempered Sword as well. So this Vitreous fight just got a lot easier. It's not really fun to do with Master Sword. Definitely doable, but definitely an easier fight if you have the Tempered Sword.
Yeah, he's got a decent amount of health, but he's still on green mail. He does not have an invisibility item, and he does not have silvers or a bow even. So it is going to be a lot of make sure you do not get hit by these eyeballs.
Yeah, no doubt. Kind of an NMG strat, I guess. You know, some of that takes over. You know, when you make that kind of speed run, you're doing it with green mail most likely, and you'll have Tempered Sword by now. So the only difference is we don't have the bow. So just have to use some alternate strats here with the sword to dispatch of the second phase of Viddy. All right, Duncan making the play over here to Agina, getting a big 20. And Andy heading into the Vitreous fight.
Oh, bomb strats. Or not.
Very nicely done for phase 1 there, making sure to take damage from the goo and not from getting hit by the eyeballs. And just as I say that, Andy gets hit by the large eyeball of Vitreous. So gonna have to make sure we don't take another hit, but looks like he's probably got this in hand. Very nicely done there. Another small key to Skull Woods. Don't really need that. But we do need that crystal. So now we've got both 5-6 crystals in hand on Andy's side, so now we could potentially see what's over at the Pyramid Fair. Dunka making these checks here inside a Desert Palace. And I believe Andy's going to go ahead and make that play over to Pyramid Fairy. Duncan now seeing that hint about a unique item in Misery Mire, and he's probably thinking, glad to know that now. I've already been there. Andy showing us how you can dash with the bomb. You can do it by taking some damage or by using that hook shot. So we've got two items inside of Pyramid Fairy here. Let's see what it has for us today. We got a big key to the Tower of Hera and our fourth bottle. So now we can go ahead and clear out Tower of Hera as well.
Only 3 other items you have access to, but yeah, I think that's where you need to go at this point. I don't think there's much else anywhere that Andy needs or can go.
Well, we do have all of our access for Turtle Rock. However, we do not have enough small keys to get to the back yet. So Andy going to go ahead with boots in hand, or on foot rather, going to go ahead and make these bonk checks for us. Duncan now making the play into the bottom part of the Misery Mire. Going to be taking on Vitreous now and getting the first of the 2 5-6 crystals on his side. Still missing that Fire Rod. Going to need to visit Sahasrara and turning that green pendant to pick that up. All right, so now Andy's got that small key to Thieves Town. I'm pretty sure he's going to write that off and say, you know what, if something's there, I'm going to orphan it or make it be the very last check. And we do know from BigDunka checking that it is just 3 bombs. So no worry there on Andy's side.
Yeah, that seems very much like a, hey, well, if there's something there, then I've already lost.
And Duncan making nice use there of the blue cane. Did dispatch of the second phase of Vitreous quick enough there. I was worried he might be running a little low on magic. Going to get that small key to Skull Woods, which we do not need. But more importantly, getting that crystal. Andy, on the other hand, making the play to the Dark Cross area and getting the small key to this dungeon. So not a whole lot of things, or not a whole lot of progression from that.
And making sure he does not have a fairy before this death warp.
When you have this much life and trying to take a death warp from ropes, it's one of the longest death warps in the game.
It's a real heads-up play.
All right, it looks like Dunka is on the right path. Going to be heading into Sahasrara. Gonna go ahead and get this fire rod. Probably thinking, man, I could have had this forever ago.
Oh, and there's the mirror in the first chest of Aga Tower.
That's a spicy location for that mirror.
That is one of those locations that if you're not familiar with retro or Keysanity style, you might think there's no reason for you to go check that. But there's the mirror.
Now we only have one castle tower key. There is another chest in there. So once we find that second key, we may, don't quote me on it, but we may have to go up there again. But now Andy is going to be able to check this plethora of chests inside of Swamp Palace, and we do know we don't have to go left side, so this should be pretty quick, even though we're pretty much checking everything.
And was there a unique item in Swamp? I think I remember seeing that hint.
I don't recall, but with the way the progression's been, I wouldn't put it past there being a unique item. Well, there's our hint about the Ganon's Tower big key. Now, we do already have that, but it let us know that it is awaiting in the waterfall. But Andy telling that hint, yo, I've got this in hand. I ain't got to worry about that right now. All right, first just a swamp, just a big 20. Dunka now dropping in, visiting the moth today. Gonna go ahead and take that out. Tempered Sword gonna potentially have a little bit of an easier time here than Andy. Just 4 swipes from this Tempered Sword as long as we don't hit the spikes.
Bug Net should do tempered damage to Moth.
You know what? It should. All right, nicely done there by Dunka. Rewarded with that shield and also the crystal. So now Dunka has both of the 5-6 crystals, so we'll probably see that Pyramid Fairy play here shortly. All right, just a piece of heart there on Andy's side. With Andy having this mirror, we also have the big key here, so we can check this as well, but just 10 arrows. With having that mirror, now we'll be able to go ahead and check that small key that we found on the floating island of Death Mountain. So we'll have to see, maybe that's a Turtle Rock key. Maybe that gives us further progression inside Turtle Rock. All right, there's our small key to Tower of Hera and the second small key for Castle Tower. So now that second chest is in play. If we find progression in that second chest, then that's definitely a required double dip of Aga Tower, considering the mirror was in that first one.
Duncan's actually going to check Ether Tower, or Ether Tablet up here. Probably hoping for the bow, but just getting ammo for it instead. 10 arrows. Dunka is going to, looks like he's probably going to head into T-Rock here. Unfortunately, does not have that mirror, so he cannot access the... Oh, geez, Andy putting on the clinic over here. Almost getting the 0 cycle Argus.
Having a little bit of a hiccup here on phase 2, but taking Argus down very nicely done. Just 10 arrows on Argus and the crystal, so no progression really here inside of Swamp Palace. All right, so Andy does have that mirror now and the book, so we'll be able to check the Bombos tablet. Just a big 20 on Bombo, so both of our tablets today, no progression there whatsoever.
And he's knocking out a few of these little out-of-the-way checks with the mirror. South of Grove showing us another small key. And that is going to be for the Dark Palace, Palace of Darkness.
We're kind of in an interesting situation where Eastern Palace could be that last pendant. And if so, we may not find that bow until we head up to Ganon's Tower, which means we may not be able to just run straight through Ganon's Tower. We might have to go clear that basement just to find the bow.
I've seen that happen in a couple of races. We even commentated on one of them, and it is never a good feeling when you have to do that.
Yeah, a lot of things at that point become an unknown. I would say it feels a little better to maybe not have the bow versus not having the hook shot, based on who the opponent might be. Dunka getting the mushroom there in the big chest of Turtle Rock, so potentially that could have some progression as well, as we see just a piece of heart here on the graveyard ledge. Dunka opted to skip the middle chest here in the lava room of Turtle Rock, so now we'll be able to visit the laser bridge and pick up 4 more checks here. Probably a smart heads-up play here just to get a little more value potentially. And for Dunka's sake, you're kind of hoping we find a small key to this dungeon on this bridge. That way he would be able to clear it out. Just a big 20 there in the first chest. All right, Tower of Hera map. And the red mail. And just 10 arrows. So Laser Bridge coming up empty basically today.
So clearing Tower of Hair here is going to tell us something. We are still looking for that last pendant. We do not... they basically don't want that to be on Eastern at this point. Or, because at that point the bow can be almost anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Duncan did find that map. Oh, we got another key here. Palace of Darkness, small key there in the dig spot. If we get another map check, and I don't think we would, but if we got another map check from Duncan, we could potentially see, ahead of Andy clearing this, rather, you know, what Tower of Hera is.
That bumper skip always scares me.
Yeah, it's a pretty small window. It feels really good when you pull it off, but setting it up, not always the, you know, it's one of those things you worry, am I going to bonk into the hole? You just don't want to have to deal with that. Moldorm has the cape for us today, and a crystal, so not the red pendant. That is still yet to be found, either Desert Palace or Eastern. And Virtua Cat was mentioning it'd be nice if that bug net did tempered sword damage to Mothula. BigDunka now picking up that bug net. So, finds a fairy or something. You know, we could pocket that and throw it in one of our mini bottles we found. Oh, and the mushroom actually gives us a small key to Turtle Rock, so now Dunka could make the decision to go ahead and clear out Turtle Rock. Opting not to do so, fluting to 4. All right, looks like Dunka going to be making the Pyramid Fairy check. Meanwhile, Andy going to be visiting the floating island here, and we'll finally get to see what this small key is. And it's a small key to Turtle Rock, so at this point, we know where all of our Turtle Rock keys are. Very convenient find there for Andy, getting ready to head in, and probably going to go ahead and clear this out. Then again, you know, that bow could be on the lava island. All right, so Duncan now getting the final bottle and that big key to Tower of Hera. So now that is in play for Duncan. All right, so Duncan now making his way up to, I'm assuming, Turtle Rock again. Since he got that extra key, now can go ahead and finish off Trinex. You know, we're in a weird situation where each runner has just enough keys to finish it without checking that center item, and they got their final key from different locations. So if there is progression in that center item, or in that center check, we're in a situation where you definitely have to double dip Turtle Rock, which Dunka will already be doing a double dip. And Dunka making the Tower of Hera play. A few more checks here than inside of Turtle Rock that are remaining for him.
Andy takes out the Hokuboku and skips the center chest.
Yeah, no surprise there. You kind of expect that play to be made. You know, with Key Sanity, it's always a gamble to leave that chest there in the middle, but you know, you'd hate to see progression be there for either of our runners, really.
Andy is going to remember to go ahead and pick up his silvers. Not going to be able to use them quite yet.
It would be nice if you could, you know, take those silvers and, you know, throw them, maybe, if you don't have the bow. But unfortunately, we can't do that. Dunka took out Moldorm there. Very nicely done. Rewarded with that magic cape and yet another crystal. Andy now finding his mushroom inside of the big chest of Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, Dunka is going to go ahead and make the play to the Spike Cave. Unfortunately, just a big 20 there inside of Spike Cave. So no progression yet. We're still looking for that bow. All right, Andy making that play onto Laser Bridge. Does have that extra key, so we'll be able to go ahead and finish off Trinex once checking these last two chests. All right, Andy making his way into the Trinex fight now. Getting that dash strat to get behind him, but taking a hit, so not sure he's going to get the zero cycle here. And a very nice Trinex fight there from Andy. Going to be rewarded with a crystal. And we'll see what item drops here. It's just a map. Map of Eastern Palace.
So if you're Andy, where do you go at this point? So we still have the chest in Thieves Town. We still don't have the pod big key, so can't check that big chest there.
Well, I'm not sure if Andy has checked Eastern Palace. So I know he probably doesn't want to based on not having that bow, but if you're running out of checks, you know, maybe there's a couple items in there, who knows? But we'll have to see what Andy is going to opt to do. I don't believe he's done the shovel spot yet, so yeah, looks like he's going to check that now. And Duncan now finally making the play up to the castle tower. Gonna finally get that mirror.
Oh, and you can check the second chest in Castle Tower, too.
All right, so Andy opting to make the same play that Dunka did a little while ago. We're going to get a fake powder check on the magic bat to see what we're going to find, but we already know that we're just going to find that bug net. And I believe Dunka making a new check here for us. Just a compass there inside of the checkerboard cave. All right, so Andy now going to get that Turtle Rock small key. Does have that option of going to check that middle lava chest in Turtle Rock, but not sure if he's going to go ahead and make that play just now.
So if it actually does end up being in that lava chest, that's actually going to be better news for Dunka. Just because he does still need to go back up there and take out Turtle Rock. And now that he has the mirror, he'll be able to get his silvers at the same time. Dunka is going to be doing Swamp Palace first here. That's the smart play from his point of view. He's going to be checking Bombo's tablet as well.
All right, so I believe these are a new check here. I'm not sure if Dunka actually did these two chests in Pod based on us not having those extra keys, but just a big 20 there in the vanilla big key chest. And we'll have to wait and see what is in the basement here. Well, we've got the map to Ganon's Tower now, so now, if we get lost in there, we've got a little bit of guidance. Andy finally making this Eastern Palace dip. We do know that there's no progression really here, as well as Swamp Palace, which is where Dunka is headed. So we're in a situation where obviously Bo is going to be go mode for us. This has kind of been an interesting seed. Dunka, early on didn't make that play to finish out Thieves Town and orphaned the lamp, which also Thieves Town gave us that that green pendant, which gave us the fire rod. So both fire sources locked behind defeating Blind. And that sunk a lot of time there for Dunka. That's kind of where the gap is at the moment. Now, as far as the crystal count goes, Dunka really not that far behind, but based on the number of checks Andy's been able to do from routing in things, and also Andy getting that mirror earlier than Dunka did, with that being inside the first chest of Castle Tower, that's kind of been the main story of this seed, is just, Andy made that play early, and having those fire sources made things a lot easier.
That's the thing with Randomizer. You can take these gambles and they can pay off sometimes. there could have been nothing behind blind, and Duncan never would have saved a ton of time. But because there was, then we're in this situation now.
Yeah, it's that double-edged sword that Randomizer is, because you can gamble in this. You know that if you make a mistake as far as execution, decision making, or gambles could potentially make up the time. I hate to do speculation constantly, but if that bow would have been in the Thieves Town big chest that Dunka was able to route in on his clear of Thieves Town, then we'd be singing a completely different tune right now.
So Andy is going to go check out the castle tower. Going to get that second chest up there. It is a faster check than the lava chest in GT. But let's see if it pays off for him.
I'm almost going to hate if the bow is here just based on how you had to get a key to get the mirror, to go to Swamp, to get another key, to come back here. Ooh, and there's our big key to the Palace of Darkness. That opens up 2 item checks. So we've got the big chest, and we've got the pathway to Helmasaur King now, if we want to go that far.
That's kind of gross.
Yeah, potentially, this could lead to something else, The progression here has been very stingy and linear at this point. So for those of you counting at home, this will be Andy's 3rd dip into Palace of Darkness.
Dunka's going to be making the same play. Going to be getting that big, Palace of Darkness big key.
Chat pointing out that we cannot do, and they're absolutely right, we cannot do Helmasaur King without that bow. But speaking of, there it is. So Andy is officially in go mode at 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 50 seconds. There's the bow with no need to do the Helmasaur King. It is time to nope right out of there and knock out Eastern Palace.
That is a fortuitous location for that bow, being able to just mirror right over to East and finish it up.
Yeah, it's one of those, I guess it's convenient, but man, to recap, we had to get that Castle Tower key to get the mirror, to go do Swamp and get another Castle Tower key, to get the big key of Palace of Darkness, to get that bow. So that bow was locked deep down in there. All right, so Andy blazing through Eastern Palace now. Going to be making very quick work, most likely, of Armos Knights with those silver arrows. All right, that was a very quick Armos fight there from Andy, and now has all 7 crystals in hand, so now it's time to go flying up GT since we already have that big key.
Now we got 3 small keys, we got 1 big key. It's be one of the faster GTs you'll ever see.
All right, Duncan now getting that bow. So now we'll be able to go ahead and mirror and clear out Eastern. The downside is he's going to have to go back and finish TR as well.
And as always, we are not going to be doing a guessing game for this round, because this is Key Sanity. We've had the Scan Tower Big Key for about an hour now.
Yeah, since this is Key Sanity, it was locked away behind the waterfall. So if you guessed that it was going to be inside that waterfall, pat yourself on the back. You did a very nice job. And now we're going to just see Andy walk in and walk right on up GT. Not sure if this is a bit of muscle memory, but Andy just went down, started checking chests. All right, check those first 2, and now we're headed up GT. All right, Duncan now on his way up the mountain yet again. Going to be heading to TR and then to GT. You know, we've got quite a sizable lead here on Andy's side. So, you know, barring some very costly mistakes, it looks like this might be, you know, it's pretty much Andy's to lose at this point.
Yeah, there's always like acts of God things that can happen, but Andy seems to have this one pretty well in hand.
And a very nice gauntlet there from Andy. And now heading into the Land Mode 2 fight.
There's that shooter. But he wishes he had a sword and a shield now.
Yeah, the most dangerous shooter in the game. Luckily, Andy didn't get hit by it, though, so very nicely done.
I really like how easy that room is when you know how to handle it. It just looks impressive every single time.
That one's great. This one's even better, because, man, the first time you pull that off, it's the most fantastic feeling.
Like, I feel the same way about the double Stalfos room in Ice Palace.
All right, no need to check these two chests, and we've got plenty of keys. So now Andy gonna go ahead and bomb through this wall, heading over to maybe get this magic refill here. Yeah, gonna opt to get that. Oh, kind of leaving it behind. And now we're at the Moldorm 2 fight.
Yeah, okay.
He's done it again, boys and girls. He's done it again. Just leaving Moldorm 2 there and going on through. Andy almost getting the triple there in the first cycle here of Agatu.
Yeah, it's not giving Andy many problems here, and Aga goes down, and we're getting ready to go see Ganon.
We got a little glimpse of him there, but now we get to go visit him in his natural habitat.
So Dunka's finishing up on Trinex, and honestly not that far behind Andy at the end of the game.
Yeah, based on leaving that lamp and fire rod for so long, the gap really could have been a lot wider than it is right now. So Dunka did a very nice job there of, bringing this gap down. We could still see something weird happen, but I will say it is highly unlikely. Again, Andy's race to lose here. Andy doing a nice job on those dash strats there for phase 2. Over into phase 3, waiting for all these floor tiles to fall down. And once they do, we'll be into phase 4. And with silvers equipped to the bow, this should be a very quick fight.
Oh, did Dunka stop and get his silvers?
He did not. And Andy finishing off Ganon there with a triple. Very nicely done. So get your GGs in chat here for Andy, and we'll get you an official SRL time as soon as he crosses that bridge. All right, so Andy has finished in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 1 second.
With that, Andy officially is promoted to the top 16 of this tournament.
Being top 32 is great. Top 16's even better. And the competition just gets even more fierce the higher we get. Dunka just had barely enough arrows there to finish that out. Did have that safety 5, I guess, under that pot, but very nicely done.
Dunka making good use of his invisibility frames there.
Using this fire rod with that half magic to make very quick work of all those mini Stalfos.
Zazik actually taking a weird turn and getting out of the way of the dash there.
That tough shooter giving Dunka a little bit of trouble here. Not having the silver, so opting to use Fire Rod strats to dispatch of Land Mode 2. Nicely done, and now we're going to head up to these super satisfying rooms we talked about. And looks like we are joined by Andy, the winner of tonight's match, and advancing to top 16. GG, Andy.
Yes, GG.
So that was quite the spicy bow location. Little chain of events there you had to go through to get that.
Yeah, the seed was a little all over the place. We were all set up to full clear Swamp Palace at like the 30-minute mark or something, and then I didn't get the mirror for like an hour. That was really interesting. I was pretty much expecting the mirror to just pop up in any chest for a very long time. And then it finally did in Aga Tower.
Yeah, Aga Tower, kind of a spicy location for that. And then, you know, having to get that Castle Tower key to inside a swamp to go back and get that bow. Just a nice long journey of linear progression for you guys to go through.
Yeah, for sure. I think at the end there, after I checked those last two chests I had left in Pod, and then Eastern, all I had left was that Aga Tower chest, checkerboard, Thieves Town big chest, and Turtle Rock lava chest. I think that was the only 4 things I had left. I was like, well, all of these suck.
Speaking of spicy locations, was there ever any thought of not finishing Thieves Town as early as you did?
Not really. Especially, like, I didn't know what it was at that point. But I think even if I knew that it was Green Pendant, like, Green Pendant is too good to pass up that early. The only worry was Thieves Town big chests. I mean, you know, it's hard to control sometimes, but I'd like to go in there with the small key. But yeah, with me not knowing whether it was crystal or pendant, it was a no-brainer.
We just had a BigDunka finish Aga 2 on his stream.
All right, so now Dunka falling in to take on the Big Pig. We're going to get those silver strats here from Dunka. Very solid phase 2 there, utilizing those cape strats and knocking out all 12 of those hits. All right, so now we're getting these silverless strats here on phase 4 of Ganon. And just need 12 of these, and we'll dispatch of the pig. Dunka making very good use of the timing there to make sure to get in 3 hits per torchlight. All right, and down goes Ganon on Dunka's side. So once he crosses this bridge, we'll get an official SRL time for you guys, but meanwhile, get your GGs in chat for BigDunka. All right, so BigDunka has finished in 2nd place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 27 seconds.
Looks like we have BigDunka here ready to join us. BigDunka, GG's.
GG's.
Thieves Town, huh?
Well, it's interesting. So we were actually talking about this in the IRC after. It's like, yeah, I could have gone through and done that, but it opened up all of Death Mountain. Is like, you know what? Let's go to Death Mountain. We'll see what's up there. I had 1 heart at that point. I was like, I'll come back. It's not a big deal. And then, of course, you're kind of forced to go back there at that point, and I was just praying that there was something in the big chest, because I had the boots before going in there with the keys, so...
Yeah, it's one thing for, like, one fire source to be back there, but both of them to be locked behind blind is unfortunate.
Yeah, and obviously it's Fire Rod, which you're going to need anyway. The thing that killed me with Fire Rod is the fact that I took 3 dips into Turtle Rock. Because I went up there the first time when I was up there, and I just checked the first couple of chests, and then I went back up there to clear all the way to Laser Bridge, and then I had to go back a 3rd time after to actually clear it. So I think I made 8 trips up Death Mountain. That's a lot.
I mean, in the end, the game wasn't that far apart. I think Andy was just finishing up as you were going into GT, and of course, being Key Sanity, you didn't have to do search for the big key, so there's only a couple minutes in between the two.
Yeah, I think you know, I kind of made the gutsy call to go immediately back in the castle tower after finding the first key, and that obviously paid off huge. But in reality, I only had one other place to go, and that was back to finish Turtle Rock. So there really wasn't much left. I think I only had like 3 locations left in the game to check. So it wasn't that big of a gamble. But basically, I think it was just the race to the mirror, and I found the mirror like 25 minutes before I finished. So that was the whole thing. Is that mirror was holding everything back.
Yeah, the mirror was kind of just like the linchpin to this entire seed. But with that, any other thoughts you have about the seed?
No, it was fine. You know, not really. I mean, it was fine. There wasn't a ton. I made some decisions that didn't work out. That's all I really got to say. But the seed itself was actually it was okay. It's not often that you're on 2 actual items for go mode and Key Sanity rather than a bunch of little keys and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it was okay in the end.
So I have to ask, Dunka, so this was your pick. Was there any rhyme or reason to, you know, we had a lot of options on the table, you know, now that we're in the bracket. So, you know, we just had the normal Uncle Assured, you know, Key Sanity. Is that something you felt like you were really, really confident about? Or was this just kind of a, you know, I'm not really sure what to pick, so we're just going to go with this? No,
this is definitely, there was strategy behind it. So I didn't want to go with hard mode or expert mode. Andy's going to get the advantage on execution. So sticking to normal is fine. Picking the keys it's probably my favorite mode. It's the one I probably have the most, you know, the most overall practice with. And then, you know, again, basically I made it as simple as possible with as large amount of variance based off of kind of expected gambles to make. So the thing that actually was really disappointing is we found the GT key like, what, 15 minutes in or something like that. So I was kind of hoping that was going to be buried in a pendant dungeon somewhere. That's why kind of, you know, I was kind of a little loose with a few of my choices. And it's probably why it led me to more than one of the double and couple of triple dips. So, but yeah, there was definitely strategy behind it.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Key Sanity can, you know, be, as we saw tonight, it can be kind of crazy with those item placements. And, you know, I want to say congrats to Dunka on making it this far. Unfortunately, for BigDunka, this is the end of his tournament road. And, so big GGs for Dunka, and make sure to give him and Andy a follow as well. Andy advancing on to top 16 now. Not really sure what the bracket standings are at the moment. I'm not sure how many matches have been completed. But I know we're going to have some matches coming up for you guys here in the next couple of weeks.
I believe that over on, I believe the thing is SG2, we are in the middle of a doubleheader between Wayne and Elminster. And I think the winner of that best of 3 will play Andy in the next round. And that is, whoever wins that is going to, either Wayne or Elminster versus Andy is going to be a great match to try to watch.
Yeah, we're basically at a point now where every match is a must-see match. You know, the competition is super steep right now. You know, we've come from 250-ish, you know, entrants in the qualifiers down to 96 and now to 32. And here we are moving on to top 16. But yeah, so I'll ask Andy first. Any final thoughts here on this seed?
It was pretty standard Key Sanity seed, as far as I can tell.
All right, Dunka, you have any final thoughts here?
Guess not. With that said, I'm Virtua Cat. Oh, Dunka?
I apologize. I was muted myself. No, I was just saying, yeah, it's honestly, it was a fun tournament. You know, there's a little bit of a relief that it's over. But again, if I'm going to go out, at least I know I'm going to go out against one of the best. So best of luck to you, and I'll watch the rest of it from here.
Thanks.
So that's definitely one of the great things I'd say about this community. Great show of sportsmanship there. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we come together on the Hyrule battlefield, so to speak, but yet we're still friends leaving it. And that's one thing that speaks volumes of this community. But I want to thank all of you guys for joining us here on Speed Gaming 5 tonight. And as Virtua Cat mentioned, we do have a doubleheader happening over on Speed Gaming 2 between Elminster, RTA, and Blaine. But my name is Dante. I've had a great time calming with Virtua Cat tonight with you guys, and I'll throw it over to Virtua Cat for the last word.
Hey, you all have a great night, and hope to see you all on the next race.